What's up, guys? Welcome back. Still working on the coolant system here on the Chevelle, getting ready for power tour. Done some things. So I've taken my fan shroud and sealed it so that all the air is getting pulled through. I even took a lot of time and plastic welded around the cutouts where I made the hoses and all the things. So this is fully sealed. I also went in and ran some weather stripping in here between the core support. See that? Between the core support and the radiator. So my thought is kind of like when you got your, soda from McDonald's or whatever, and you got a crack in your straw and you go to suck through it and you get a bunch of air and not the liquid. Kind of what was happening with the coolant system. The fans were operating, but it wasn't 100% efficient. I'm trying to make that more efficient. As soon as the fans turn on, it just brings the temperature down. But my operating temperature, somewhere between 205 and like 212, which is a little high for me. When the fans do kick on, they start at 205 and it cools it right down to 195, and it's just like 10 seconds it brings it down. But I want to bring the operating temperature down, so hopefully that the motor can stay cool and not need the fans unless I'm doing things. So to do that, we're going to swap out the stock thermostat for a 185 temp thermostat and see where we're at. All right, well, we learned that the thermostat that was in there was already a 185-degree thermostat. Verified that it is operating correctly by throwing it in some boiling water with a temp gun and making sure that it opened where it's supposed to. You can see that little guy there is partially opened. And we're at 185-ish. It's hard to get a temp. It starts to open at 185. These are slow opening thermostats, so it'll slowly start letting flow open, and it's fully open by about 205 degrees. So what does that mean? That means to drop my operating temperature, I need to go lower than a 185-degree thermostat. So if I get a 160-degree thermostat, that should put me right about in the 180 to 190 range operating temp, which is about what I want to get. I want the engine to be cooling itself and the fans to only work, to only have to come on if I'm really getting on the car or if I'm in some heat. That's how I had a few other vehicles set up. I could sit all day and idle and the engine would just stay at 185, 190. And when I started doing racing and things, that's when the fans would come on and it would provide me with excellent cooling very fast. So that's how I'm going to design this. I know that's not how GM designed it, but nothing in here is how GM designed it. So let's get to that. Put the 160-degree thermostat in and see what happens. All right, thermostat's in. We're letting it warm up. It's at 150 now. So what this is going to do is it's going to lower my entire range of operating temperatures from what was normally 195 to 215, 220. It's going to lower all of that range down a little bit. So what does that mean for us? Well, I have electronic fuel injection and things like closed loop and fueling, and when the fans come on and all that kind of stuff is set for higher temperatures. So we're going to take this thing, bring it up to temp, and figure out what operating temperature it wants to be at with this 160-degree thermostat, and then we're going to scale everything else to where it needs to be. So that means that the fans need to get adjusted so that they are just above where the operating temperature would be, so I can have them function as I was wanting them to. Dog's going to continue to have a conniption fit because the car's running, and we're also going to play around with when we go into closed loop, because closed loop has to be operating temperature, so that's probably going to be somewhere around 170, 180, and then we'll go from there. So here you can see that my closed loop temperature is 160 degrees. We'll go down here to fans. Fans are coming on at 205 and off at 195. Fan 2, I'm not using that output from the Holly. I'm using that from my trinary switch, so that's controlled by pressure. Dang, that's controlled by pressure off of the AC trinary switch. So we're just going to focus on this little guy. Currently we're at 172. Let's go watch and see when this thing opens up. So it's right about 178. It'll bounce up to about 180. And then it'll come down to about 178, 177, but it's staying right about in that range. So this is what I wanted. This is what I've done in the last few vehicles. I just assumed that it was a 185 temp thermostat that I had, but apparently it's 160. And that 160 puts me right around 180 degrees operating temperature, which is going to be perfect for me because I can sit all day and idle at 180 and it won't ever get hot. If I start running the air conditioner or I start sitting in hot heat, on power tour, 100-degree weather and traffic and things, it may start to go up, but I still have quite a few degrees before I have to worry about pulling over. We're going to put our fan temps probably at about 190, 195, and it'll take it back down to about 182 will be my cutoff, I believe. And that should give me enough operating temperature that I can move around freely and still beat on it and not have to worry about it too much. So we're going to make those changes real quick, and my dog is going to freak out. You're on TV. No, you don't want to be loud, huh? Now you want to be loud? So anyway, I'm going to make those changes. Hopefully this information helps somebody out. This is hopefully enable me to stay cool when it gets hot. We're going to try it out here in a couple weeks when it gets a little warmer and make sure that my changes are going to be accurate. And hope I helped you guys out. If you guys are on the power tour, I got a couple extra thermostats in the toolbox and some other parts. So if you see me, flag me down if you need some help. And hopefully I'm not on the side of the road asking one of you guys for help. Anyways, I'll see you out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps out the channel. And